Why are clocks always tired? Well, they're always winded down. What's going on, YouTube? It's Friday. It's 8 p.m. We're inside the Hollow City, inside of Cold Harbor, outside the plane of existence to go over our first of 2 weekend vendors. These bad boys are here until early Monday morning, and we are stuck with the Falmer stuff. Oh no. The only nice thing is, I mean, for 3,000 gold, you're not going to be able to get too many gates. And I mean, it's certainly got some design to it, but man, the Falmer were not known for their great architecture. To be fair, they are canonically blind. So, like, can you blame them? Which then makes, begs the question, why do they need all this aesthetic stuff? Like, how are they even building these? How do you even start a fire when you're, you have no vision and you live in a cave and you hate everybody and everything? But anywho, they somehow were able to thatch together these gates. I would say these gates, and honestly, 450 gold for some fences if you needed a fence for one of your houses. These are 2 decent values. The tents, maybe. I mean, the nice thing is about all their stuff is it's relatively cheap. I mean, they're not really using any expensive materials, so you could obviously use these for your own houses if you needed or had a theme that went with it, or you could try to resell these. The only ones I could see reselling in the future are probably these top 2 items, if we're being honest. And before we jump into the second vendor here, this is just a quick reminder. We're 3 subs away from our next 500 subscriber goal. So please hit the subscribe button because we're talking to the next golden vendor. Now, this one has the ability to give us some good juice. Now, if you're ever confused on where to find these vendors, you could check out our website linked at the top of the description. But what's nice about this one is we can get sets from pretty much the majority of types of content with some couple exceptions. But we start off with Draugr's Rest, which comes from Folkwreath Hold. When you complete a fully charged heavy attack, you create a circle of concentrated ground that heals you and your group members within 5 meters for 27,969 health over 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. It scales off your max magicka or stamina. Now, as somebody who has been teaching you guys about sets for a long time, I want you to put in the comment, pause the video, tell me why this set is bad. I will wait. I also want to just point out too that I'm on a max stat build, so this 27,000 health is actually probably a little bit higher than it normally would be, considering the build that I'm wearing right now, because sets are affected by what I'm wearing. So if you said in the comments below that this dungeon set from Folkwreath Hold was bad because over 10 seconds, 27,000 is 2,700 health. If something said to you, oh, heals you for 2,700 health, you'd be like, that's not very good. And you have to be in a specific area, and you have to build max magicka or stamina, which generally you don't want to do as a healer. Yeah, there's quite a few problems with this. This set's a 5. Like, people are always like, Jake, what's a 5? A 5 is literally just a random set arrangement, and I said, here, go heal with this. You would get the average benefit from using a random set. In fact, point blank, even the other sets from Folkwreath Hold might even heal you better, just because they give you weapon and spell damage. So that's what a 5 is. It's literally, if I said this type of content will say healing, support, and you just put on a random 5-piece, you're getting the same benefit as you would from this 5-piece set. Maybe some people would argue it's a little bit better, but I'm firm 5 out of 10. Next up is an overland set from Stormhaven, which means it would be tradable, but it gives you health, max magicka. That's not too shabby. But then when you take damage while you're under 35% health, you knock down all enemies within 4 meters of you for 2 seconds, and you restore 1058 magicka. So this is where we put on our thinking caps again, and I asked you, Jake, why is this a bad set? And I want to hear comments. I will give away rewards or something to people who can tell me why these sets are bad. Obviously, I'm telling you in the video why they're bad too, but you don't want to have to wait until you're in execute range for something to happen. Also, you don't want your proc sets to proc off things, and a proc set is literally if this, then that. So if you're below 35% health, you knock down all enemies. You want to do things, even Draugr's Rest is when you heavy attack, so you are determining when it occurs. You have no control over when you're below 35% health. So if you wanted to try to time a knockdown, you're not going to be able to do it very easily. And the second problem is that what if they're crowd control immunity? If this set went through immunity, maybe this would be better. But this, again, is probably like a 4 out of 10. I think you would get better benefits. Let's say this is a PvP set because it's you have to use it for. there's no support characters running around trying to knock people down between 35% of their health. You'd probably be better off running sets like Draugr's Rest, because at least you're getting some health. You're getting probably a miss stun and 1058 magicka. It's literally better to wear random stuff. But thankfully, the next set is better. This set comes from Dire Frost Keep Hulking Draugr. It gives you just max stamina. It's the Crafty Alfiq's version of stamina. Now, this is a very meta-dependent set because generally, players that run stamina-based characters are running weapon and spell damage builds. They're not really worried about maximum stamina. With subclassing, though, I could see more people experimenting with pushing maximum stamina, but it's not something you see very frequently. Templars really used to have some sort of, max stamina builds, back in the day, but we haven't seen it super recently. But this is a set that kind of, it comes up. It's like, this is a set that's theory crafted with, people will think to themselves, what if I was to wear Hulking Draugr, and use this, and this. So that's why I like this set. It's a good set. It's a 7 out of 10. It's not lighting the world on fire. You probably don't need to own it right now because there's nothing that jumps out at me and says, oh, this would be absolutely incredible. But I would say, as we take subclassing passives from other classes, to be able to push max stat builds, I would not be surprised if this set starts to see an uptick in PvP utilization. Why PvP utilization? Because generally max stat builds are only used for PvP, because generally you're not really worried about roll dodging, blocking, sprinting as much for PvE content. Like realistically, you don't have to sprint and roll dodge and do all your, big old attacks and things for, PvE as often. So generally sets like, same with Crafty Alfiq, it's pretty much used for max mag and max, for Sorks and Wardens for PvP. So that's where I would say, keep an eye on this set in the future. Theorycraft with it if you want. It's a good set. 7 out of 10. Next up is Stendarr from eSmarts. Now, it gives you mag recovery, max mag, max mag. And when you heal yourself or an ally, you remove all negative effects from them. This effect can occur once every 30 seconds, but it's per target. So you can do it to yourself at every 30 seconds, your friend David every 30 seconds, your friend Travis every 30 seconds. You're all going to be on different cooldowns for that, right? Now, how is a set like this in combat? Well, purging yourself negative effects is good, but we live in a day and age of scribing and subclassing. Technically, subclassing is not out on console, so you can entirety of a 5-piece set. No, this is a 6 out of 10 set. It's better than average. It's certainly not as bad as throwing a random clump of stuff together. Like if you wanted to run in a ball group, at least you're removing negative effects, or a Zerg, at least you're doing something productive that you're not consecrating the ground and healing people for like 2k health every second. So you're doing more than that, but not a lot more. Next up is Balsanar's Roxas the Warped Guide. Current staple set for PvP. It's a 10 out of 10. However, I do want to point out a couple things with this set. One, a lot of people will point out that if you combine Baron Thirsk and Magma Incarnate, you will get 258 constant magicka. You don't have to worry about these stacks. So I just want to point that out as we go through, because what this does, it gives you all the recoveries, all 3 of them, 70 each. If you gold it out, you can see it on the right here. And then each second you're in combat, you gain a stack of Dark Light, up to 30 stacks. Each of those stacks is going to give you 8 magicka, stamina, and health recovery. So you can basically go through and get yourself a bunch of recovery. Now, a lot of people are thinking to themselves, why do I want to do that? Well, one, a lot of people are using Wretched Vitality right now, which is a great 5-piece set. However, if you can skimp out on a 5-piece set and use a 2-piece set, that's even better. Now, a lot of people will push back and say, Jake, we're in the day and age of using mythics. You can use a mythic. In fact, you can use a 5-piece set, a mythic, a 2-piece monster set, and 2 arena weapons. So like Vatestrand Ice, you can theorycraft and put that in your builds if you save out on using like a set like Wretched Vitality and you use Roxas. So that's why I think Roxas is a staple set for PvP. It's not necessarily the best sustained set. It's probably easily in the top 1 or 2, maybe 3 if you want to be, really, out there and cattywampus about it. And you're buying the shoulders. You're saving yourself Undaunted keys. So I love this set. I use this set. I think this set is absolutely fantastic. And I think as we go into, further out there, as we get more access to skills and things like that, sustain sets will always be important. Roxas will always be a great set. And you're going to save yourself Undaunted Keys. This is an easy pickup. This next one is from one of the newer dungeons, Exiled Redoubt. Now, this one's kind of odd because it gives you max health. That's always good for a one piece. And then when you take damage, gain 1 random effect for 6 seconds. Minor protection. Going to tell you immediately, that's not very good. Then you could gain a damage shield. You could get that one. Or you could heal for some health. And then the health restores off of your maximum health. So this is a set that's like, what do you do with this? Because getting minor protection is very easy. It's like in your college dorm where they were just giving out supplies to everybody. You don't really need to worry about it. They're all just giving them out for free. So minor protection is not that good. Getting a damage shield is also not that good because if you're in PvP, it's going to be nerfed because it's not affected by Battle Spirit. Same with healing is also going to be nerfed by Battle Spirit. A tank's already going to have access to pretty much all of these things, but better. A support character they're not giving this to other people, so it's not like you're, giving other people helpful buffs and things. As a solo player, you probably are still building in minor protection. And if you wanted something like a damage shield to get through solo content, you're probably going to use just a different set, or you're going to run a mythic. We talked about running arena weapons. Unfortunately, most arena weapons aren't as good for PvE content, specifically solo content, in the sense that, like, yes, there are some really good, obviously, PvE builds that will use the Harpooner's Kilt and will do all sorts of different things. But for solo heavy attack builds, you're not going to be running this. You probably are going to run something like Ice Heart if you need a good 2-piece to get you through some arena content with a little more junk in the trunk. So I think this is another 5. I was advocating a couple of weeks ago that 5s do exist, and we got so many of them. But thankfully, we do have a banger this week. Roxas the Warped Guys, as well as the top 2 furnishing items there, the gate as well as the wall, are probably the 3 best items. If you ever want to build a max Warden or max Sorcerer, I would get Roxas the Warped Guys. Or if you just find yourself using max stat builds, or just sustain in general, because a lot of people like to run sustain. Sometimes we find ourselves in more of a burst meta, or, metas that don't really need as much sustain, but people have been using Wretched Vitality now for who knows how long. So I don't see the meta shifting too far away from building, a bunch of recoveries in. So to me, I think Roxas is an absolute fantastic pick. And I would get that if you're interested in PvP and you find yourself needing a little bit of sustain. Obviously, it's not good for all of them. You're not going to be using it on a Nightblade, really, but most of the other classes could use it in, especially in my opinion, those max stat builds. And plus, infinite combat bug makes it to where it's always proccing. You're always going to be in combat. Let the Cyrodiil bugs be to your benefit. If you're going to constantly be in combat, Death Dealer's Feet, Roxas, it's a match made in heaven. You're going to have all your stacks built all the time. So thank you guys so much again for watching. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment in the comments below. So let's like on the video, por favor. Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed. We are 3 subscribers away at the time of recording. I imagine hopefully we'll hit it by the time you're watching, but even still, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button. And the third thing is look for a hidden word we flash upon the screen. For every video in the month of June, we are posting a hidden word to the point where I'm running out of giveaway codes, but we are still giving out premium content passes, which give away all the previous DLCs and the current season content pass. So find the hidden word, comment it first, and you will win. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Have a fantastic Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys. And Friday also. I don't know why. Have a good Friday also.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.